Hi, everyone. It's been a minute, a little over a week. It's February 9th, Tuesday, and I thought that it's time to check in and start doing my videos. I can get Zeus to sit down. He's so restless. I swear he's like a puppy. I keep him so healthy anymore. He's just so energized these days and so healthy, which is good. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys this past week, there's just been a lot of reflecting and everything. It's been very hard. I don't understand a lot of things, and I just and there's a lot of things I do understand. I'm just sad because I physically miss my child, and I don't know how to go on sometimes. But I've spent this last week cleaned out in his room a little bit. I didn't throw anything away. I just picked up a little bit and organized things. Went through everything so I could see what everything he had. Uh, so yeah, I just can't think. I want to start the videos because I promised you guys too, and I need to start getting out of bed more. But I want to tell you guys too that I'm really grateful that you guys have no idea how much you've helped me. The main way I got through this is by being able to record myself every single day, so I knew that there was somebody out there, somebody was listening, somebody could feel my pain, somebody could give me the best advice they got. And even though you gotta don't mess around with the haters, because the first message I got in a comment was for my son to burn in hell, so you can't let those things rattle you. It didn't bother me, but I just want to let you know if you ever do something like that, you gotta be tough. Okay, so I want to talk about. I'll probably post maybe up to 3 times a week. I don't know if I'll be posting every day. I'll try, but I don't know. My computer's not working right, and my phone's actually breaking down. The volume button is messing up, so we'll see how it goes. Um, I wanted to tell you guys that I just want to thank you guys so much because you don't know how much you've helped me, and I just can't sit here and keep repeating myself. I'm eating up video time, but I want you to know that I'm in a better place right now. Um, and I'm just trying because I have to, I have to. So what I want to do is start off with what happened that day, and then after today's video, we'll go back in time and oops, I'm sorry, I bumped you. We'll go back in time and talk about what led up to that day. Okay, so that day, at 11:15 a.m. on December 4th, which is Friday, I got a message from my son, and he said, "Good morning." And so I sent him back a message. I said, "Morning," and that's usually about the time we get up around here, is around brunch time. But so then he said, he asked me where I was, and I told him that I was across the street with the dog at the time, and then I was getting ready to go to work. So and when I say work, I mean that I had this little food cart that I make Belgian waffles and Harry Potter's butterbeer with my own recipe, and it's awesome, so good. And deep fried cheese curds with different dips that are homemade. So I would go out there because I started doing that after I sold my car because of the pandemic. I just have to keep thinking of something I got to do. And I would stay local, but even though I'd make like 30 or 50 bucks a day, I was only out there for a couple hours, and it kept me going. It kept food on the table legally. I don't want to do anything. I'll do anything legally to put food on the table for my family. So whatever that entails. So I just want that I was out there trying. And so anyway, I told him I was going to go to work when I got back and took the dog back. And then he sent me a message, and he said, "Oh, okay." And then he said this, and I did this. I had to print it out. Well, my next message to him was, I love you very much, and I'm a very wise person. I wish you would talk to me more. And I said, but I understand. And then the last thing I told him was, I want you to have a magical day. Now, see, let me tell you something about that. I never talk like that. I talk to my granddaughters once in a while. I'll say, like, you have a magical birthday or something, but I've never said that word to my son. To me, it's like a girl thing. It's like a magical unicorns and, magical birthday wishes and stuff. And I don't know, I just never use that word with my son. We have many other words, but I've never used the word magical. And that was the last text I was able to give him that he read. And then he sent me one right back, and it said this. It said, I love you with all my heart, too. I know you are very wise, and I hope you make your day magical, too. I like that. And that was it. And little did we know how weird magical maybe for him that, he went to heaven. And, this was just, it was a very strange message that, I keep going back to it, because it was very hard for me to, knowing that was my last message, and this is weird, and then, so that day, when I was working on the food cart, there was a man with a dog, and kept getting in and out of this little house across the way, and would walk his dog around his car and stuff, and it was a little German Shepherd puppy. It looked like he was about 7 months old, and I just kind of leaned out my food cart window, and I watched him the whole last hour I was there. And let me tell you, it was like 30 degrees. It was cold, but not real windy, so it was manageable. And I just kept thinking, there's something about that, I kept thinking he was acting strange or something, but, there was something weird about that. And then he walked across the street with his dog, and he just kept playing, and I would wave at him. He didn't even see me. It was like they weren't even really there. It was really weird. I just kept getting a weird feeling, and I just kept saying, there's something weird about this, there's something weird about it, And in the end, I guess it's because that was my old dog, Zora, and I knew she was coming for my son, and that's the only thing I can think of. And I was watching her play with this grown kid or whatever, and it was just really weird. And then I had, I'm sorry, it's just so much. That's why I thought I better get started, because I don't know how to say some of these things. Anyway, so then I left work, and the last 2 days, that Thursday and Friday, I kept telling myself, December 3rd and December 4th, that something was weird. I didn't want to work. Something kept telling me to go home. I was drawn to come back home, so I only worked for 2 hours on Thursday and for 2 hours on Friday. It was just something, I just couldn't seem to be there for some reason. I just kept drawing to come home. I came home, and a couple hours later, and everything was normal. Everything was fine. I kept feeling like I had some dismay in me, that day. I just felt kind of like, I don't know, I don't know. I can't explain the feeling, but, I wasn't sad or depressed or anything. It was just one of those days, I guess, where you just found yourself taking a deep breath once in a while, I don't know. Okay, so then nightfall came, and my son and one of his friends went to buy this, they wanted to buy this little trailer, and they were going to fix it up and flip it. And so they went over there that night around 7 o'clock, and the friend sent me a video and was showing me, because it was abandoned for a while, so there were some cockroaches in there and stray cats out on the porch and stuff, and I was like, oh boy, you guys got your work ahead of you, if you're going to do this, you should get a professional exterminator, blah, blah, blah. And then he took his camera and faced it to the floor, and there was a picture of this guy named Mark, who was a friend of my son's, older man, a friend of my son's, who died about 2 years ago or whatever, and of an overdose. I think it was an overdose. Anyway, don't quote me on that. I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And anyway, there was a picture of him on the floor. And I was like, oh my God. I said, pick that up and fold it in half, put it in your pocket, and carry it around for good luck. And he did that. He put it in his pocket, and it must have been real, I was using his friend's phone. We were talking on a video with his friend. And, 'cause I don't want to mention any names, but, my son was there, and I could see him wearing his red shoes and everything, and he was pointing at it, and I seen him pick it up and fold it up and put it in his pocket. I didn't see my son's face at all at that time. I just seen, what was going on below. And, and then he ended up dying 7 hours later. So it was just all weird. Well, then, he left there, and I never heard back from my son again. I just stayed in contact with like friends. So because he wasn't going anywhere, I didn't think he was going anywhere. He didn't have his license, wasn't legal until springtime, so he wouldn't be driving. So he was riding around. A friend was driving him around, and they were just at the trailer court. And so then about 11 o'clock rolled around, and I seen my son on the camera, whatever. And I saved that video. I seen my son come in, did something, whatever, and he took his shoes off and did something. And I said, "You take those sandals off." I remember yelling him because you could see on the camera he's talking to me, but you can't hear. There's no volume on there. And so I was telling him to make sure he took his shoes off that he wore at that trailer court house or whatever, because I didn't want any cockroaches in my house, and they were all over. I mean, they showed me a picture of a coffee pot, and the cockroaches were this thick in the coffee pot. Like, you take them shoes, make sure you brush your side. Don't come in this house, So you can see that I'm talking to him, because he's standing by the front door. I mean, at that time he had his sandals on, so he was putting his sandals back on, and he went back over, and then he came back, and then he put his red shoes back on. It was weird how he was in and out a couple of times. So anyway, I told him to take those sandals off, and like men's Nike flip-flop type of things, and because he wore them over to the house a couple of times, and then one time he had his red shoes on, and it was back and forth for a while. But then once 11 o'clock came, he came home, he took his shoes off because I was yelling at him, and he threw the sandals outside, and then he came back in, and you could see him putting his red slippers on. His shoes, his red tennis shoes. So then he's putting his red tennis shoes on, and he walked out the door, and he was like, "Bye, I love you." And I was like, "Okay, bye, I love you." And I didn't want to give him a hug because, like I usually do, I'll give him a hug and kiss on both cheeks sometimes. I'll say, "We'll see you later," and be safe, whatever. But I didn't even get out of bed that night. I was watching the TV, and I didn't think he was leaving the area, and I just, that's how we do it, But I usually give him a hug, but I was worried about all the cockroaches. I'll just stay back here. So then, about an hour later, it shows him coming through the door. And I got this video too. It's just a split-second video, about 8 seconds long, whatever. He come in the door, and he brought me Taco Bell. It was around midnight or whatever. Brought me 2 Taco Bells, and put it in the refrigerator and walked out the door, and that was it. And then the next thing you know, I went into a deep sleep after that and didn't wake up until the coroner knocked on my door. And it was just really weird because I never even sleep through the night, ever. So that was just really weird how the things took place. Sorry, the things that took place that day. And I know all that doesn't sound very weird, but don't worry, I got some great stuff for you guys, but that was really hard because I can't believe I was in such a deep sleep. I mean, for hours. I slept like 10 hours and straight or more, So then the next morning, the coroner knocked on my door, and I jumped out of bed because it was a pounding. No, Zeusy, I'm sorry. Zeusy, it's just Mama. But anyway, so then the coroner knocked on my door, and I jumped out of bed, but I looked out the bedroom window. Zeus, come here. I looked out the bedroom window, and I seen, excuse me, one cop car and like a little SUV thing, and another car that was strange, and they didn't pull in the driveway, they parked out front. And then I looked on my doorbell camera, and I seen that there were 3 people standing there. And I thought, oh my God, it's the cops. And I started thinking, oh no, I wasn't even awake yet, but I just, I lived for years like that every time there was a knock on the door. And I jumped up and I went to the door, and they just asked me if, is that your name? And do you know what happened? And is your, does your son live here? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, have you seen your son? And I was like, have you heard from him? And I'm still waking up. I mean, I slept. It was like 9:30 or whatever. And I looked like this around the guys and looked in the driveway. And I noticed my son's car was gone. And he wasn't even in his car last night, the night before, whatever. And so I said, well, no, yeah, he lives here, but it looks like he's not here. I don't know if he got up and went to go get breakfast or visit friends. I mean, to my knowledge, he came home, went to bed, and was sleeping and got up and went somewhere. So then I looked on my phone. I didn't have any messages. And that's the first time in my son's entire life that I never cared like where he went or what he did. He was a grown young man. But he would always let me know, like either I'm not coming home or don't worry about me. So I could lock the doors and, have that night and not worry. But there wasn't one message from him, not one. And that was the first time in our lifetime that I never got a message that he was gone. So at this point, I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking to myself. The cops are here and everything because did my son hit a light pole or something? And, I was thinking there was an accident and he was okay. But, they're just telling me that, his car was in a ditch and he's going to be fine. Anyway, they came in the house and started talking to me about things. And we'll talk about that in the next video because then we'll finish that story and then we'll get on to... the other stuff. I just want to cut this video for today, and I'm just having a hard time reliving those moments, but I'm gonna be okay. And I didn't even know the one guy, he had this bright colored jacket on, like a work jacket. That's why I thought my son hit a light pole or whatever, because he looked like some, a DNR guy out on the streets working on light poles or something. So, anyway, I asked the guy, I said, well, who are you? And this was about 15 minutes into our conversation. He goes, well, I'm the coroner. I said, coroner? I said, what? Coroner? Well, okay, I need a minute, and they asked me if I was home alone. And I said, yeah. And they said, maybe there's someone you want to call or something. And at this time, I'm like in sheer panic on the inside to where I felt immobilized. I couldn't move. I have chills right now thinking about it. But we'll pick this up tomorrow. And we'll get there, you guys. I'm going to be okay. We'll get there. I'm just now getting to the point where I can talk about stuff. But we'll be okay. And that's how that went. And all right, so I love you guys. And we'll pick this up tomorrow or the day after. I'll at least post every other day. So bear with me and we'll get to some good stuff. Thank you guys so much for being there for me. By me being able to vent to you and tell you my story, I don't feel so alone, and I have great understanding of many things, and I have a lot of peace in my heart. It's just hard reliving those moments. So I wanted you to know that you guys really helped me get there. And I'm very grateful to like Chad and Tammy who helped me with the GoFundMe and sent all their wonderful people my way to help me, because everything's done and paid for now, and I'm grateful for that, except the headstone. I didn't get that yet, but they told me I couldn't put it in the ground till he was in there at least 60 days because of the way things shift. It's only been 49 days, so... Okay, well, because we buried him December 28th, and I never know anybody that could be buried 23 days after they died, so... I don't know, I guess 2020 was weird for everybody, so... Alright, we'll talk soon. Thank you for listening, you guys. Thank you for being there for me, and peace in your heart and your home, and try to understand everything in life, and you'll be okay.